Need me to send in proof of my name change? Fine, enjoy your jammed fax machine. So, I was granted a legal name change a few months ago. Long, boring story as to why. Simply put, hated the unique spelling of my first name and wanted to ditch my surname. Didn't have much trouble updating my name most places. Social Security, driver's license, insurance, yada yada. No bumps in the road until I got to the very last thing to update. My credit card. I use this particular credit card a lot. I'm self-employed and use this card to rack up travel points for flights, hotels, rental cars, etc. However, if you've ever checked into a hotel or picked up a rental car, you'll know the name on the card must match the name on the ID. So, I call the CC company. Told I have to fill out a certain document and mail that in, alongside a copy of the court document. Fair enough. 2 weeks go by. Hear nothing, so call again. They say they haven't received it. I'm then informed they have a fax number that I can use to send in the documentation. So, I fax in everything necessary using an app on my phone. Another 2 weeks go by. Still nothing. I call again. Same spiel on the other end of the phone. Please mail or fax. You get the deal. I once more did what they asked. Yet another week passes. I call again. Told the same dang script. I'm starting to get annoyed by this point. I have an upcoming trip planned and need the card to match my ID. So, I ask to speak to a manager. They give me some BS of a manager not being currently available anyways. I fax in the document and court order once again. However, this time I decided I was just going to keep hitting send after the previous one had shown as delivered. I thought I'd repeat the process a few times, just to make sure they got it. After sending it 25 times the first day, I got no response. Next day I was sitting on my couch watching football. Thought I'd send the fax a few more times. By the time I realized how many times I'd hit send, I had sent it over 130 times. The very next afternoon I got a call from a manager at CC Company. She sounded quite angry over the phone. I just played dumb. You guys asked me to fax it in. I got my updated card in the mail 3 days later. TLDR. Spent almost 2 months trying to update my name on credit card. CC Company gave me the same runaround every time I called, just faxes X and Y. Faxed them X and Y about 150 times. They finally sent me a new card with the correct name. Edit, holy heck, this blew up. Glad I could provide some entertainment. Go forth and maliciously comply, my friends. I'd also like to mention how painfully easy dealing with Social Security and the DMV were in comparison. For whatever reason, CC companies would look at my updated driver's license, Social Security card, and court order document, but still not be convinced my name had changed. I understand fraud happens, but come on. Now to the comments. I have been in a similar situation. I sent them my papers by certified mail. Next time they tried to tell me they hadn't received it, I told them I had the certified mail receipt, and if they didn't act, I was suing for breach of contract, and had proof. I got my new card by express mail the next day, and used it to withdraw all my funds and close my account the day after. It was the very last straw. Same shit with Comcast, mailing back my cable box. Got the charge for unreturned hardware, sent them the FedEx tracking number which confirmed delivery, with signature. I never heard back. Duckers. That's why I take the time to drive down to the local office and drop it off in person. I just happen to live close enough that it would take more time to mail it back than to drop it off in person. I had a similar fun story recently. Had to fax in some documents by a date, so I call in and ask if I can email. Apparently, the office I was faxing to was located back in 1920 and fax and mail was the only means by which they can communicate. Since I live a millennium away from them, I kept faxing via a free phone app, and they kept not receiving it. So, I wrote a flowery 2-page cover letter detailing my efforts to reach them by land, sea and air, message in a bottle, helium balloons, and horseback couriers. All futile, as I suspected many died of dysentery on their journey, and the other options were cast adrift on the seas and winds of merciless fate. I faxed that a couple hundred times, and all of a sudden, they seemed to be receiving them. Like seriously, who uses fax anymore? I've never had to fax or mail anything anywhere in my 36 years of life before. Government offices for one. Hubs and I are on disability and public housing, and for the longest time the only ways to send income reports were in person, mail, or fax. I straight up bought a fax-capable printer because paying for that was cheaper than paying for faxing at my local office stores. I will say however that the disability office has finally discovered email. They rolled out email submissions during the initial lockdown periods. But housing is still fax as far as I know. Haven't been informed of an email at any rate. Some medical offices do too. I recently received someone else's ultrasound results because the office sending was apparently too stupid to realize they had the wrong number, despite my repeated phone calls informing them they were trying to fax a house phone. I guess in their defense I was calling their central booking office because I couldn't find any other information. But it took 2 days of me calling, followed by figuring out how to set my printer to receive faxes in addition to sending, then calling the phone number listed on the fax itself, and informing them that I was neither patient nor doctor, for them to realize something was wrong. Up till I called and started reading the fax to them, I was basically told that there were too many different locations and too many staff members to know where/who it was coming from, and I was going to have to just block the number, which was a paid service I didn't have at that time. I'm still not sure the people who answered the phone at the central office actually believed me. Medical uses fax like it's 1990. Seriously. I've had the same problem with PayPal. They ask for me to upload the documents. I do, and they're like, no, you need to upload these documents. So, I do, and they're like, no, upload the documents. I'm like, duck you. PayPal told me I needed to mail them my original marriage certificate to change my name on my account, not a certified copy, the original. Granted, this was 2004, so still in the relatively early days of PayPal. The guy on the CS line said it would be returned afterward. You kidding me? I told him to close my account and delete it and then opened a new one in my new name. When I got married last year, all the social security offices were closed. I was told that to complete my name change I needed to mail them my physical driver's license and they would mail it back in maybe 2 months. They refused to accept a scan of it. So it's been a year and I still haven't been able to change my name. I had a friend of mine who was being given the runaround by some insurance company about some paperwork that he knew they had, but they kept stalling. So, one day, he called them and asked if they actually had his file. The low-level functionary on the other end said that, yes, they had his file, on their desk, in front of them right at that moment, and the documentation requested was not there. So, my friend replied, you have my file in front of you? Yes, I do. Excellent, I'm calling from the street outside your building, and I'd like to come up and look at my file now. Narrator, he didn't have the file. But they found it really fast, and the document on the top of the file was the document he needed. OP replied. Brilliant. Waiting for the complimentary r/malicious compliance story from the bank manager who sent you back 150 credit cards to your house every day for half a year. And invalidated the last one before sending the next. Evil. That's such BS. When I worked at a bank, it literally took me less than 10 minutes to change a name, and I was just a teller. I know systems are different but still. OP replied. That's why I eventually lost my cool with them. It took my main bank less than 15 minutes to update my name on my checking and savings accounts. Not rocket science. For every time I faxed something into to a credit card company and it never being received, I thank you. That's why you also send it by certified mail. They can't evade that shit. I received a certified mail the other day. It was in my mailbox, addressed to someone who hasn't lived there in 10+ years. We still get mail for the previous owners, and this was a totally different name. The letter indicated it was certified, and had been signed for. I wrote in huge block letters on both sides, return to sender. No such addressee. Nobody signed for this. No idea how the duck that one got through, but I no longer totally trust certified mail. Lol, I remember 25 to 30 years ago my dad getting spam faxes, and to get back he would tape a few sheets of paper together and, once fed through, tape the paper in a loop so it was continuously faxing someone until they ran out of paper. It was even more diabolical when you used black paper and they had thermal paper on a roll. That stuff was expensive. Thermal wasn't expensive but had the little quirk that it could burn down your house if someone would overheat the device by sending endless black pages. Thermal paper is also an endocrine disruptor.